Hey, good morning guys, Tush coming at you. Tuesday, August the 22nd, just coming up to 11 a.m. Off today, getting some days back from the long weekend I worked in Seattle. So, going to put it to good use. We're going to probably pull off the tires today and have a look at the brakes, and we'll check the wheel bearings as well. And the other thing I want to do is climb under the car again and have a look at the clutch slave cylinder, as it's showing signs of some fluid loss. It's got a lot of crystallized fluid around the boot seal, so we'll have a look at that. I did take a look at how to get that off. I do have one coming in my parts order. I find it's a lot easier just to buy new than to try and rebuild the old ones, generally anyway. We'll have a look at it when we pull it off. We may keep it as a spare. Anyway, so that's the plan for today anyway. Wheels off and clutch slave inspection. Alright guys, we'll come back. Alright guys, so we're at the rear of the car, and the brake pads look okay actually. They've still got some meat on them. So all I've done is I've just lubricated the pins here on the back with some ultra slick brake lubricant, and we just put some anti-seize on the threads for the lug nuts. So we're just going to stick the tire back on and move on to the front. We've got the front already off. We're going to inspect the wheel bearings. And we've taken a quick look at the brake pads up there. They look okay as well, so we're just going to lube those pins up. Do the same with the put the anti-seize on the lug bolts for the lug nuts, and that'll be it. Alright guys, so the tires are back on the car, so we're going to move on to the next project, which is this clutch slave cylinder. And as you can see, it's pretty crusty around the back. Got lots of crystallized fluid there. Hang on, my trouble light's just hooked. There we go. So, yeah, so you can see all the crystallized fluid there. So, obviously the seal's been leaking. So, we're going to go ahead and try to remove that. Like I said, we've got a new one coming, so we're going to remove that. Now, my understanding is there's two big circlips on here. So, we've got the, you can probably just see one maybe. You can just see right there. On the front, it looks like it's fairly corroded. So we're going to go after that one first and see if we can actually move it out of the groove that's in the clutch slave. And then we'll probably move around. I believe there's one on the rear as well, so we'll go ahead and remove that one as well. And see if we can remove that slave entirely. Alright, so the first circlip is undone. As you can see it there, just maybe I can show it to you here, just spinning. So there you go. So I'm going to move around to the other side now, and I think there's one on the other side that we can't get to obviously from this side. So we're going to reposition and go after the front one. And then we're hoping to take the boot off, just slide the boot forward, and we're going to push the slave all the way back through the mounting hole. We may have to undo the line, so we'll see when we get to the other side if we can pull that out with enough clearance with the line still attached. Probably not. We're going to have to detach the line anyway, so we might just go ahead and do that. I'll get a little container to catch the clutch fluid that's going to run out of that. Alright guys, we'll come back. Alright guys, here's the front side of that slave cylinder, and you can see the snap ring there on the front, so clearance is a bit more of an issue on this side, so hopefully I can get my snap ring pliers on there okay without too many issues. So we're going to go ahead and try to remove that, and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, we'll have a quick look at this slave cylinder out of the car, and before I get rained on. It's just starting to spot rain out here. So we've got the two snap rings as mentioned, so there's two slots here in the slave for the snap rings, one in front and one behind. This fits into the bore of the, there's a little bore in the bottom of the transmission that this fits into. So the snap rings keep it from moving forward and backwards. So obviously here's the push rod end and the boot, so you got to remove the clip that holds the boot on. So all I did is remove that, slid the snap ring and this retaining ring off the front, and we pushed the slave all the way through the hole in the holder basically in the transmission all the way back, and then remove the line. Good pair of snap ring pliers is really necessary to do this job, particularly to get that first clip off. The second clip's easier because you can just remove it once you get the slave cylinder out of the car. Alright guys, that's it. Hey, good morning guys. Saturday, August 26th, just coming up to 11:45. And had a busy morning this morning already. We've been to our mailbox and back, which is about a 2-hour return drive. So we've got 4 packages to open, 3 related to the Alfa and 1 to the TR250. Got 1 big box, and I know what's in that. So we've got, I think, the necessary parts to attempt to make a start on this car this morning. So I've got Ellen coming up this morning. He'll probably be here shortly. We're going to try to put it all back together, put the fuel filters back in, and I should have gear oil in there for the transmission. So we'll fill that up. I got new spark plugs. I got a new distributor cap, new distributor rotor to plug in there. But other than that, I think it's pretty much ready to go. Well, I do have that new clutch slave cylinder to put on, so I'm going to unbox the boxes to make sure that I've got all the parts required to make this happen. I'm really hoping that I do. I did also this morning, first thing, bought a new battery. The battery for this Alfa was long dead, so we've got a new battery here. So I would think that we are at the approximately $1,000 threshold that we spent on this car already with the parts that we bought, the oils that we bought, the battery that we bought. We're definitely getting into the $1,000 range. So anyway, $1,000 investment to see if we can get this thing running, and we should know hopefully later today. All right, we'll come back. Ice cream truck is here.
Here, an ice cream.
Finally made it with a Spitfire because there's no chance of rain today, which is unusual for a weekend. So anyway, he's here. We're happy to have him. So we're going to see if we can get the old Alfa started today. Oh, here's the. I heard the ice cream truck coming down the road. So everybody, get your money out. All right, there we go. Alright guys, I thought I'd just take you through what we've ordered and received for this car. So the first invoice totals $366.27 US. We have a retaining clip for the clutch slave cylinder, a new clutch slave. We've got a new tailpipe, which we've got sitting over here on the ground. Again, we're still missing the center section, but there's the rear of it, made in Italy. Looks nice. We've got the exhaust hardware. We've got another oil filter, although we bought one locally. We've got another filter. We've got the Spica oil filter, which is this little guy here. This goes into the Spica pump at the front. And of course the new gasket with it as well, so we'll have to change that out. We have the in-tank fuel pump, and we've got the filter, which is a little different than what I was expecting. Here it is here. Not exactly like the photo on the website. I thought it was going to be a cap style with a little screen, but that is definitely quite different than what I was expecting. We have the also the sending unit here, brand new sending unit. We have a new distributor cap, a new ignition rotor, so there's a distributor cap. We have the new ignition rotor here, so we'll put those to work. We've got new spark plugs here. We've got, oh, I didn't get my catalog. I didn't get my catalog, Ellen. No? They're supposed to send me a catalog, the bastards. And you know what we didn't get? We didn't get any candy.
No, that's
no
disappointing.
Candy. Very disappointed. So that was the first invoice. Second invoice was basically filters. So we have the in-tank filter, or not in-tank, but under the tank filter here. We've got the engine compartment filter here. Brand new, so we're going to have fun, or Ellen's going to have fun putting that back in. And then we've got this, I've been complaining to Ellen about this friggin' little rubber coupling hose which attaches the sending unit to the pump, which is this kind of piece in here. That little thing is $46.50 American for that. What do you think of that? Sucks.
We can start making those.
Yeah, we're going to start machining those ourselves. Anyway, so that's what we got. Oh, and I got my my 7590 NS Redline gear oil for the gearbox. So I think we're ready to start work. It looks like everything should fit, we hope. So we'll let you know. We're going to attempt to try to start this afternoon if we get everything put back on the car. All right, here we go. I gave Ellen the easy job. He's going to put the new fuel filter back in the engine compartment. So he's just had a a quick look and to see if you could indeed get the housing up from the bottom, and we can't. So
Pull the fender off.
we're gonna pull the welded fender off. No. So we're just changing the gaskets out. At least the bottom one. The top ones look like they're. We can probably get to them, but actually getting them to stay where we want them to stay while we're trying to get that thing, the filter, screwed back up to the housing is probably going to be problematic since we don't have much access anyway. So I think we're going to not attempt to do that. I guess what we'll do is if they end up leaking, we'll just change them out then. But we're just going to take a chance that the top gaskets are in good shape. While he's doing that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the in-tank fuel pump. So I've got to assemble that and put the fuel sending unit on the top of it. So we'll take that apart and see what we can do as far as getting that together and then back in the tank. All right. So making progress. The new fuel pump is in. We tested it to make sure it's pumping in the right direction. We managed to melt a red cup in the process. That was kind of funny. That was his fault. Alan's managed to wrestle that engine fuel filter back in there. So those tiny little arms there, they serve a purpose. He was able to get down there with no problem. So that's now in there and hopefully leak free. I see he's got a fuel line missing here. He hasn't connected up the front here yet. But we'll fix that in a minute. See it right there? Yeah. So we might have had a little bit of a fuel leak. We fired that new pump up. We're just charging the compressor up because we want to blow out all this crap that's in here before we go ahead and change the spark plugs. We're also going to do that rotor and cap as well. So we'll get some compressed air and clean this up before we do that. Other than that, the next thing to do is to install the rear fuel filter. We're going to put the new transmission fluid in and put the clutch sleeve on, bleed the clutch, and then I think we're ready to go. Put the battery in, and have another beer. Distributor cap I mentioned already. So we're making progress. Anyway, we'll come back. Alright, 3:39 in the afternoon, and we think we have everything done. All the parts have been used up anyway. We've got the clutch sleeve bled. We've got the rear and front filters on. We've got the gearbox filled up with oil. We've got the in-tank pump installed. We have the Spica filter installed. According to the Spica manual, sounds like you're supposed to leave one of the fasteners a little loose so you can bleed some oil out of that. So we've done that. So we'll have to go back under the car and tighten that up once we get some oil flowing through there. We've got the new battery in the trunk. We just haven't hooked it up yet. So like I said, I think we're pretty much ready to go. So we'll give it a shot. We gave Les a call. Les would probably want to see this momentous occasion. We hope it's a momentous occasion anyway. So we'll get ready to start it in just a few minutes. So we have hooked up the ignition, and the first thing we do is let the pumps run, and we've got a leak from the rear of the car. So we're not sure whether it's the fuel filter installation or the lines actually coming from the pump at the top here. These steel lines go into rubber lines underneath, so we think it might be those lines. We're going to check them. So a quick update for you. It's 5 p.m. We've just made a quick run to the parts store to pick up some fuel line, which they don't really have. So we're making do with what we've got so far. It's coming sort of clear that we need to replace most of the fuel lines in this car. They're a little bit hard and crusty. So we had a fuel leak in the rear, which we fixed temporarily with some new hose. And we've got a leak now up at the fuel filter line to the Spica pump. So we're just replacing that line out with some fuel injection hose. So it's not a lot of room under there, so it's a little bit of a challenge. So like again, skinny arms is in there. So almost got that fixed, and then we'll fire it up again and see if we have any more leaks to deal with. Alright, we had it running for about 10 seconds before we realized that the oil was just gushing out of where the Spica filter goes. So we turned it off, and there was a problem with the gasket on the Spica filter that they, or the cover plate that they sent us. So we've made a new gasket, so we hope that's going to work. So we're going to give it another shot.
Let's give it another shot.
Alright, do you want to film this? Les, you film.
Yeah.
Here. Take it. You're going. You're live.
We're doing a push.
You already, it's on. Just eat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about to start one of the poor, lonely, left living Italian stallion cars.
You ready?
So here we go.
Ready?
For all your pleasure. Let's see. Listen to that, guys. Purrs just like a British Ford Capri. Twin overhead cam. Not too bad, guys. She sounds alright. She's got a little bit of a miss, but we're doing alright. Let's look at the instruments.
Alright, there she is running. Again, no exhaust past the catalytic converter, so we'll just let it run for a bit. It's the first time it's run in a while. Anyway, we'll let it warm up. Alright, so it's warming up and you can see that the idle has dropped down. It's a little smoky in the garage. So we're almost idling at 1,000 now. Temperature's coming up. Oil pressure looks okay. Fuel gauge is not working. And the clock is wrong.
Hey, Tush.
You're running not too bad. Probably idling a little high still.
Idling better, right? Running better.
Yeah, now it's warmed up. Doesn't it now?
So it seems to be idling pretty good now. Just about warmed up now. So, no leaks so far. We checked to make sure that the gearbox engages in all 5 gears and reverse works. So I'd say that's a pretty successful day so far. I've got no lights on in the dash. We do have a turn signal issue. We do have headlights. So we have horn.
Sounds like a fucking transport truck.
Alright, we'll leave you for now. So just idling at about 1,000, maybe 900 RPM right now. Fuel gauge is now working. Not sure what kind of oil pressure I should have. There's the temperature right in the middle at the moment. Sounds pretty good. So now I'm stuck with Les. What are we going to do now, Les?
I'm gonna cut your nuts off.
That's nice, thank you.
Going
All right, just had a quick bite of dinner and it's just coming up to 7 o'clock. So what I'd like to do now is to get this thing down off jack stands. You can see quite a bit of oil underneath there that leaked out with that Spica filter not being sealed entirely. So we're going to get it on jack stands. We're going to drive it, hopefully drive it outside into the driveway, and we'll clean up the garage a little bit before we move it back in towards the end of the night. Alright, let's see if it'll move under its own power. Alright, she's out of the garage under her own power. It's a good thing. I need to wear smaller shoes when I'm doing that because the brake and gas pedal are very, very close together in this car. So, I'm happy to have it off stands and out of the garage. And we got a bit of a mess to clean up here. Believe it or not, that was from that initial 10-minute or 10-second burst of us starting it initially with the Spica cover loosely fitted, let's say. 2 bolts snugged up and just the one loose, a little bit loose, and we lost that much oil in about 10 seconds, so we had to put more oil in it. So, like I said, we're going to clean up and put some of this stuff away, get the garage cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll pull her back in for the night. Alright, ready to move her back in. Gotta do a light check. Well, the running lights work. Let's go inside. Well, the interior lights work. They're not very bright. There might be a rheostat in here. I haven't found it yet. I do have a problem with the turn signals, but we'll get to that later. It might just be a flasher. It might be a bad ground. I'm not sure. Anyway, there you go. Gotta set the clock still. And we'll pull into the garage. Even the power mirrors work. Unbelievable. What luxury. I can play around with that all day. Until I break it. Alright guys, focus. Just about 9 o'clock. And we've got her back in the garage under its own power again. So had a good day, obviously, getting the car to move and getting the car to run. So thanks to Aline and Les for stopping by to make that happen. So we do have some work to do on it still. We've got a few little electrical gremlins to work out. It is missing the turn signal stock. I believe it was on there when I first got it, but it's now broken off. So I did think I saw it on the ground underneath the seat. So we'll have to figure out what's going on there. Power windows are kind of intermittent, let's say. They go down and up partially on the switch and then they just want to stall, so not sure if I blew a fuse there. Fuel lines need to be changed. They're pretty hard and crusty in places, so we'll have to go through the car and change all the fuel lines at some point. Probably also change the coolant hoses as well before I take it anywhere of a distance away from home. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it, considering we didn't really know what we were getting into when we got this car. We've only got about $1,000 into it. As far as parts are concerned, we don't count our labor. So yeah, it's getting closer to being on the road. Anyway, we'll call it a night. We'll try to upload this video so you can see where we're at. And yeah, good day today. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.